Evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Now, in the previous session, I think I discussed with the reference groups, isn't it? We stopped by discussing the reference group. Yes or no? Yes. Now we move ahead with the family. I think students today, you would be happy.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Just now the meeting was conducted and we will be having offline classes and many activities. So even we are
Ma'am, but what
excited.
about working students?
Let's see, no? We will try to include them also. Let's check. Saturdays and all, I think it's possible for the working students. You can
Yes,
speak with
ma'am.
your coordinator regarding this.
Yes, ma'am, that's good idea. We'll say that
Okay.
activities you should conduct at least twice a week and they can inform us so that we can arrange that way.
You can speak with Dr. Anand. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Now moving ahead with the family. Now the way just now you spoke with me, I really expect in the online class also students that you should have that much info here also.
Yeah, ma'am, actually I'm not there. Like daily I'm busy with the schedule. That's why.
Okay,
Good,
fine.
right.
Okay, okay. No problem. Now family,
Hello.
we all, yes.
यस मैम हर्षल हियर
हर्षल।
एक्चुअली मेरे को एक क्वेश्चन पूछना था जो अपन लोग अभी जो 2 मार्च से जो ऑफलाइन चालू होने वाला है लेक्चर्स जो मैंडेटरी करना है
सेशंस के बारे में
हेलो
हर्षल यू कैन स्पीक विथ डॉक्टर आनंद ऑन दिस। आप अपने कोऑर्डिनेटर से आपका जो भी प्रॉब्लम है वो बात कर सकते हैं।
ओके
हाँ
ओके मैम थैंक यू।
Okay. Now we will move to this marketing part. Now we all of us, we grow in our families. We have our family members. We imbibe certain values since our childhood. You know, our family members, they teach us many things. On the behalf of small children, parents, they purchase. And we are used to certain set of buying environment, you can say. A particular family maybe they like to prefer a particular brand. Now here many a times it also happens that whatever parents they bring, the kids may like or may not like. Okay, they grow and then a time frame comes when the kids, they enter into the purchaser part, or they decide okay what is to be purchased. So we say that family members, they constitute the most influential primary reference group in this. We had the reference group. Okay, in that first and foremost comes the family, and it's so deep rooted within us, it's very influential that we carry that background wherever we move. Now it depends upon the person's reaction to this aspect, how deep rooted the person is with reference to core values of that particular family. Now here if you consider any aspect of religion, caste, politics, economics, zeal for ambitious growth, self-esteem, morality, self-worth, love, all these aspects, you know, somewhere we derive from our parents or the elders in our family. Now, the marketers are also interested to understand the role and the influence of these family members. Now they vary with many of the aspects. Maybe it depends upon the economics, maybe it depends upon whether it's a joint family or a nuclear family, maybe it depends upon the economics in terms of monetary gains or the course or values here, we can say. Now here one cannot just assume. There is a particular segment where money is not the criteria. People have the purchasing power parity, okay, but still they don't purchase because there are certain ideologies, principles. They are bound by certain ideologies of the family or maybe principles, and that's why they don't purchase or don't spend on that particular aspect. While against this, there might be a segment where they do not have that much of money, or maybe they do not have that much purchasing power parity, but still maybe to satisfy the inner core, a person might purchase a product. For example, suppose a person wants to purchase sports shoes, okay, for his son or a daughter who is doing very well in sports, okay, actually he is not in a frame to purchase it, but as he has so much love for the kid, and maybe even the kid is excelling in that particular field, the parent thinks of purchasing even though it is very much expensive. This is the example. Against this, maybe there might be a case where the person may have the purchasing power parity, but he's binded by the principles. Maybe suppose one can think of leading a luxurious life and purchase all the luxurious items, but here the parent is much more disciplined and want the kids to follow him or her, okay, and that's why they do not go for the convenient goods. They want the kids to struggle and then purchase or understand the importance of it. So nobody can predict the background of the customer, and as a marketer, the companies have to understand this part, and hence the importance of the family as a reference group. Now, many of the packaging, when we take the packaging into account, family plays a vital role. Many of the companies, they have introduced the family packs, the larger pack size. Similarly, if we see the automobiles, even the cars, okay, where the family is a joint family, or maybe there are more members, they look for the convenience as far as the space is considered here. In a product like insurance, where the person thinks of purchasing insurance, the family matters here. When the service package of insurance is to be purchased, okay, the age of the family members, how many members are there in the family, whether to include or not. So it plays a very important role. Similarly, in case of medical insurance, also it plays a vital role. When one thinks of having the tours and travel packages, traveling to places, booking the restaurants, this family has its influence. Now coming to the roles and status. Now, as reference groups are there, a person is a member of many groups, like maybe a family is one group, there are different clubs, associations, organizations, And a customer can be a part of any of these groups. Now here the role and status of each person, they are well defined. What is the meaning of a role? Maybe you might have participated in dramas, isn't it? And in drama, what happens? The character has to play its role. Similarly, in our day-to-day life also, a person is expected to perform certain roles. And each role will carry with it certain status. When I say a particular personality like a Supreme Court Justice or a CEO of the company or the principal of the school or a celebrity, when I just name them, there are certain perceptions with reference to status which are going at the back. Okay, maybe this person, if I say CEO, what comes to your mind when I say just the CEO? Maybe you expect a person to be in a very that means he might be dressed properly in with a tie, and he might be wearing a suit, properly dressed, isn't it? Yes or no? So here, when we think about the roles, there are certain status which is attached to it, and hence the importance of status symbol. Many of the people, they just purchase the offerings because they want to portray the status symbol aspect in the society. Many of the people, they take the pride also in just naming the brand that I have purchased the product of this brand. You might have noticed this. There is a certain segment in the society where they are more status conscious. What the people will think. If I wear this, I wear that, if I purchase this. And hence, in the view of portraying the status, okay, they will purchase certain goods. Maybe the branded products or the expensive products. Mostly they are purchased not because of quality. Okay, there is also a segment where they think more about quality, but there is also a segment where they think about what the others will think. And hence they purchase these products. Now, any doubts as far as the social factors are considered?
No, ma'am.
Now, coming to the personal factors. Now, whenever a person thinks of purchasing any product, okay, he has his own personal characteristics which has an influence on this buying behavior decisions. Here it includes the age and stage of the person's life cycle into which he is. Now, over the time, we purchase different products with reference to our age and stage in the life cycle. Now here, if you consider the baby food market, okay, there are many companies and there is a huge potential. There are many varieties available. Then comes the kids segment. Okay, some of the products are targeted especially for the kids. If we see the confectionaries, if we see the snacks items, all are targeted towards the kids. Now here, as the person progresses from the kids towards the teenager group, then again the demand is different. And slowly and steadily a person moves towards the health consciousness. So maybe it's any eatable, maybe it's regarding clothing, maybe it's regarding footwear, maybe it's related to hygiene, any of these aspects, this age and the stage in the life cycle has its own importance. So if we see the chocolates or the confectionaries, if we see the chocolates or the confectionaries, usually they are targeted at the kids. But then even I have given you an example of the Cadbury's where they have thought of shifting the segment. Similarly, if we take ice creams also, usually they are targeted as kids. Against this, if you see the healthy and dietary part, okay, like Safola, where the USP is cholesterol free. Okay, they have that as a tagline. So here they are targeting the health conscious people, or maybe for that matter, if they are the product like green tea. So consumption of any of the product is also shaped by the family life cycle. Now marketers, whenever they are thinking of segmenting a particular product, they need to take this life cycle into account. Each and every person transforms from one phase to the other phase.
Ma'am, you mute yourself now.
When we take the occupation and economic circumstances, now even the occupation influences a person's consumption pattern. Just now I gave you an example of a CEO of a company, and we expect certain role, or maybe if you consider the with reference to apparel. Okay, against this, if you have a blue collar worker, we don't expect much as far as the clothing is considered. Similarly, maybe with reference to the transportation, like automobile which the person is using. Now here, when we take the family life cycle, okay, when the person is in the bachelor stage, there are very few financial burdens. A person does not have much responsibilities usually, and they can enjoy on the fashion, on the recreational things, or maybe equipments, the cars, the mobile handsets, the gaming part, etc. When the person enters into a stage of marriage, when again there is a responsibility, they think of purchasing maybe house, maybe durables, maybe cars, appliances, furniture, vacations, tours, travels, etc. So here the demand is shifted. Okay. Next, maybe when the couple has the kids, again there are different, the focus is shifted from their own personal preferences to the kids' choices. So here, even though the offerings, the products or the services are purchased by the parents, The user might be somebody else. The kids may be the user in this segment. Still ahead, maybe there are financial concerns also. So here, when a customer thinks of offering any product or a service, they take the background into account. Or maybe if you have seen the insurance agent, he when he visits, he will ask first of all many questions like what is your age, how many members are there in the family, what is your income, what are your expenditures. So he will try to analyze the portfolio and then think of giving the advice as to which plan is suitable with reference to the scenario of economics, the family, the preference, the priorities, and the expenditures. So here, according to the need and the background of that person, the packages, they do differ. So the next part is the lifestyle. Now, each and every person has its own lifestyle. They are again influenced by culture, subculture, social class, or occupation also. So a person's pattern of living, which are expressed in terms of activities, interests, opinions. Okay. So we use this term whenever we just have to comment on a person. We say it's his lifestyle. Maybe he believes in a healthy lifestyle. A person believes in fashion and cosmetics. That is his lifestyle. So here, the psychographic part of a person plays a vital role when we connect it with the lifestyle of the person. Now here, there are certain set of people, those who are achievers. These set, they are mature, they are successful in the career, they are very much enthusiastic, they aim for higher aspirations, they move ahead to purchase the prestige products. Now here, whenever a person even purchases a product, it reflects their achievement. So here, when those personalities or those people, those who aspire to achieve certain things in life, maybe they need that only, that brand only. They do not go for compromise or substitute. They want to achieve it, means they would like to achieve it. Now here, you can take an example of automobile or the branded footwear or any other products which reflect the brand or the quality in terms of status, where they would like to portray that they have achieved the success. Now, many a times success is also correlated with success in terms of money, which is reflected in the material things. Maybe we say when the product uses the branded products, we say he's successful. Maybe. Okay, that's not the case always, but one of the aspect. There is the other set, those who are fulfilled. They are mature, they are satisfied, they are comfortable. They favor the products which are value-based, maybe quality-driven and value-based products. They may purchase the higher quality products maybe one time, as they don't like to change. Against this, there are certain segments where, every 6 months you will find that the person is having something new. A person specifically, if you might have observed, with reference to smartphone, okay, the technology becomes obsolete. So here the person wants to move ahead with the technology. Or if you take an example of the footwear or clothings, they want to be with the trends. After every month or 2 months, they like to change the things. There is no stability, or they do not care much for quality, but they give weightage to novel things or those which are new. Immediately the new thing enters into market, they have it in their pockets. That is also a segment. Now here again, there are certain believers where, they are conservative, they are conventional, traditional, and they do not like to experiment with new products. There are also strivers where people are insecure, they are uncertain. Specifically, they always take the advice of others. Maybe they will wait for others to use the product and take their opinion and then only go for purchasing. So we have different set of customers. Each and everybody has its own lifestyle, and it's reflected when a person purchases certain things. Now, any doubts as far as this part is considered when it comes to lifestyles?
No.
Now, coming further is the personality and self-concept. Now, we as an individual person we have our own personality, which influences our buying behavior. Each and every person has their own psychological characteristics. Now, there are certain traits like self-confidence, domination, autonomy, deference, sociability, defensiveness, adaptability. In one way or the other attribute, we all differ. It's more in some of them, it's less in some of them. Now, when we purchase a product, even these characteristics are depicted or reflected, we can say. Marketers, they think of developing the brand images that match somewhere the target customer's image also. So here, when the companies think of portraying the characteristics of the product, they are mapping it with the psychological characteristics of a person. Now, if we take these psychological factors into account, here we have the factors like motivation, perception, learning, beliefs, and attitude. Now, whenever we think of purchasing any goods, maybe generic, maybe non-generic, there is certain stimuli or motive to purchase the offering or the product. Now, just take an example of a Bisleri bottle, the packaged bottles, not Bisleri, but any of the packaged bottles. Maybe just to quench the thirst, the person purchases it. Maybe the person is traveling, maybe they are into a restaurant, etc. So there is some motive. So to buy any of the product, there is certain motive. Many a times they are influenced by others or maybe by self. Now here, one cannot say that since I am motivated, I go and buy the medicines. Isn't it? No. Medicines, Maybe the customer, the patient has some problem, or the relative, they visit the medical store. On the advice of the doctors, they purchase the medicines. Maybe against this, if you have any cosmetic product, it is the inner core motive of the person. There is certain motive. Unless and until you have that motive, you don't enter the shop. Or if there is certain sudden stimuli, like there was one study conducted in terms of, or maybe even though you can Google it, in case of shopping malls. Okay, when the person visits a shopping mall, much of the products he purchases which were not in the to-do list. Usually the people, they go enter the grocery shop traditionally with the list. Maybe even today WhatsApp is there, the phone is also, they also use it. But when they shop in the shopping malls, most of the time just by the impulse they purchase the goods. It's not planned. This impulsiveness results in more purchases than the desired, because maybe it does not come to their mind that maybe a particular thing is out of stock or it should be purchased, just because we have a glance at it and we feel that it is important and hence the person purchases. Or it is also influenced by the salesperson. You might have observed that many a times when the person is shopping in the malls, there is a salesperson who influences that at least try the product, and people, they do use it. Or maybe the companies come up with the promotional offers, and hence the customer thinks of purchasing the goods. So here in this case, a consumer is influenced. When a need becomes a motive, when it is aroused to sufficient level of intensity and the person thinks of moving ahead and acts to purchase. Now there are best known theories in motivation, in organization behavior subject. In that course you will study this in detail. Here you have a brief approach of it, or in brief. Now the first and foremost is the Abraham Maslow's motivational theory. Now whether you have heard, maybe those who have completed the BCom or BBA, you might have studied this.
Yes, ma'am, we studied about the Maslow's hierarchy.
You have studied it. So here at the first or the basic level needs are the food, water, warmth, rest. Okay. The person seeks the basic needs. These are bare minimum needs wherein the person thinks so that these should be satisfied. The next is the safety and the security needs. Further, the belongingness and love needs. That is with reference to relationship, friends. Here, we being human beings, we cannot stay alone. We always like to be in groups with people, move ahead with the people. Okay, so these are, we can say, a type of psychological needs, esteem needs. So here it's with reference to the reference groups or prestige, a feeling of something we have accomplished. Okay, these are esteem needs, which are at the inner core of a person, which the person desires to be fulfilled. And the self-actualization, here achieving one's full potential, including creative activities, that is self-fulfillment. Now, when usually here one moves from the physiological needs to the self-actualization needs. People will always try to satisfy the basic needs first and then move ahead. Now, if I gave an example of a packaged water bottle. So it relates to the physiological needs. When one thinks of moving out for vacations, okay, they need safety and security needs. They need to have something to stay. So it's related with this security and safety needs. When one thinks of purchasing the insurance, that means they are purchasing the security. What about belongingness or this love needs? How it is correlated with the products or the service packages? Any idea? Now, if you see most of the today, they are based upon this needs of emotions rather than based upon the concept of functionalities. Have you observed this part? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
If you take the example of a simple product like generic good like soap or a Dettol, okay, there also you will find that in advertisement it relates to this belongingness and love needs. If you take the ad of the jewelers, the same thing is there. If you think from the perspective of celebrations, okay, this part is reflected. So whether you have understood the correlation of product with this different levels of this pyramid. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So when it comes to esteem needs, okay, prestige and feeling of accomplishment, you might have seen this in terms of buying a automobile, which reflects the status symbol or prestige. If you see the advertisements of diamonds, okay, they focus on this esteem needs. What about self-actualization? Self-actualization. When the person's inner core, when the person desires to achieve something, yes, self-fulfillment needs. Hello. Yes. How can you correlate the self-actualization, self-fulfillment needs?
Ma'am, for an example, if somebody wants to purchase an luxurious car and he is having not so much potential to pay full amount at a time, so he take it from bank loans, and then he fulfill his needs. So I
Okay.
think in that it matters.
Okay. But whether you understood what is self-actualization is not that. Self-actualization is maybe in your inner core, you have certain aspirations. Okay, and you want to fulfill them. Yes. Now here, maybe through achieving those products or those services, the person becomes happy. The person is satisfied. Now here, you might have seen the advertisement of thumbs up. Previously it was there, okay, which reflects the uh, inner core of the person to achieve certain things. Or maybe if you take an example of a single product like tea, okay, where maybe the lady just enjoys her own time or own space with the cup of tea. That is self actualization, where a person needs it's their own space, their own desires to be achieved. Now, have you understood this? We move ahead to the perception part. Now, when a person is motivated, he's ready to act, and he's influenced by his or her perception of the situation. Now, perception is the process by which an individual selects, organizes, and interprets information inputs to create a meaningful picture of that world. That is what is the definition. Now, it means simply that when a person has a certain motive, okay, the way he reacts to it, the way he thinks about that aspect, that is what is perception. Now here, we as an individual, we differ in the perception also. Some of them, they like the ambience of a particular place. Some of them, they in case of restaurant, maybe some of them, they are impressed by the ambience, the furniture, maybe the lighting arrangements. The other may be influenced by the service given by the people. Maybe the other person might be influenced by just the food of that restaurant. So each and everybody of us, we have our own perception with respect to particular action or activity. Now, as a person, we are exposed to many of the things which are happening around us in our day-to-day life. But there are certain incidences where we are very much attentive about that aspect. Now, this process is known as the selective attention. Now, here you might take an example. Maybe if you are riding a bike or an automobile or driving a car, maybe you are waiting at the signal. Okay. Since there is nothing to do, we just give a glance here and there. Maybe many of the boards, okay, or the posters are displayed on the boards. We just have a glance. Some of them, they are very selective, they are very catchy, they grab our attention and we would like to read. There may be 4 to 5 boards, but a particular board might be very much catchy, which interests us or which is able to retain our attention. Similarly, when we enter a shopping mall, there are many products displayed. Maybe there is a certain offer or certain products where our eyes are fixed. We go near, we try to just check in the details of that offering or of that product. This is what is the selective attention. Or maybe there are 4 or 5 ads back to back going on, but there might be a certain advertisement which might have seeked your attention. Now, this is because at an individual, it's not possible for us to be attentive all the time. There are certain selective incidences, movements, activities which seek our attention. Now, it depends upon the person how influential would be the impact of this stimulus. The marketers have to work very hard to attract the customers. This is a challenge for the marketers. People notice the stimuli in certain anticipations. Now here, specifically if you see the words like promotion, offers, discounts, why they are used? Just to attract the customers. Or many a times, if you see on the product itself, some words like extra, 20% more, 40% more. Okay, these are highlighted because it easily gains the attention of the customer, seeks the attention of the customer. Now, selective distortion. Many a times, the notice stimuli does not always come across in the same way the senders which they intended. Their meanings may be taken otherwise also. This is known as the selective distortion. When I say a particular thing in terms of consumption or diet, okay, we use that this is very heavy. A particular product is very heavy. Okay. Against this, there might be light. Now here, instead of light, if I say diet consciousness or healthy, it will have more impact, isn't it? Whatever impact of the phrases, the terms, the words, it has the psychological bearing on a person's mind, and the person starts thinking in the same fashion. They start interpreting it. That is what is selective distortion. Coming on to the next part is selective retention. Usually we as a human beings tend to forget some things, while there are certain things which we retain, we never forget. Now, this is one of the reasons why the marketers think of bombarding the consumers with the advertisement, because repetition will help in selective retention from the point of view of consumers. The more the person is acquainted with the product, maybe through the print media, through the new magazines, through the television or FM channels, through the messages, more would be the selective retention of the consumers. Now, next part we will discuss tomorrow, the learning part. Today we will stop here.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, students.